Hi everyone, this is Dr. GVR Seshagiri Rao, Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. So today we will see in this session the definition and terminology of lubricants and lubrication resins. So already we have studied about these lubricants and types of lubricants and lubrication process we have studied. So today we will see some definitions related to this lubricants and lubrication process topic. So in this first one is define the term lubricant. So what do you mean by lubricant? The lubricant is a substance which is used to control friction and wear of the surfaces in a contact of the bodies in relative motion. So whenever two surfaces are in contact in relative motion, there is a friction, there is a wear. So to avoid these two, so some lubrication is required in between two surfaces. So which is used to control the friction and wear. So that phenomenon is known as lubricant. Which type of substance you are using to control this wear and friction. So describe about the evolution of lubricants. So what is the history behind these lubricants? The history of lubricants started thousands years ago, as early as in 2400 BC. By 400 BC, Egyptians used animal fat to lubricate chariot axles. The chariot axles they were used this animal fat. So, however, the solid theoretical understanding of the lubricant action was only possible with the development of the viscous flow laws discovered by Sir Isaac Newton in 1687. Early in the 20th century, only mineral oils, vegetable oils, or fats and greases were mostly considered as lubricants. So, what are lubrication mechanisms? So all the surfaces in nature are rough, at least microscopically. When two rough surfaces slide against each other, the asperities of the surfaces come close to each other and interlock, adhere and generate friction. The goal of any lubrication approach is to separate the rubbing surfaces by a lubricant layer, which prevents direct contact of the bodies by choosing appropriate lubricant. So this is a mechanism behind the lubrication. The friction and wear of the materials can be controlled by using this lubrication mechanism. So classify how many types of lubricants based on its state. So lubricants can be classified according to their state. One is liquid lubricants. In this, the all liquid lubricants including mineral, natural, synthetic oils, emulsions, etc. classified under this liquid lubricants. The solid lubricants, all lubricants in a solid form including powders, coatings and composites like graphite, polytetrafluoroethylene, molybdenum, disulfide, etc. So gaseous lubricant. So gaseous lubricant typically it's air, but can be any other gas. Semi-solid lubricants, greases generally consist of a soap emulsified with mineral or vegetable oil. So these are the classification of lubricants. These are main types: liquid, solid, and gases. State liquid lubricants. The liquid lubricants may be divided into the following groups. One is hydrocarbon base oils. Next one is natural oils and fats. Third one, non-hydrocarbon synthetic oils. And fourth one is water-containing lubricants. So these are the main liquid lubricants divided into these following groups, the four groups. The state properties of liquid lubricants. So there are several key properties that determine the performance of lubricants. From the lubrication theory perspective, viscosity and density of a lubricant are the most important parameters. The viscosity is the factor that determines the thickness of a lubricant film that separates the surfaces. See, in hydrodynamic lubrication, you can observe in that equation the higher viscosity and thicker is the film, the viscosity equation, and then the thickness, the minimum coefficient, minimum oil film thickness, you can observe in that equation in the case of hydrodynamic lubrication. So these are the properties of liquid lubricants: viscosity, a main property, and density. So what is boundary lubrication? The boundary lubrication is associated with metal to metal contact between two sliding surfaces of the machine. During initial startup or shutdown of some equipment, in the example journal bearing, under heavily loaded conditions, pins and bushings of construction equipments, the metal surfaces in a lubricated system may actually come into severe contact with each other. If suppose there is a metal to metal contact, so it means there is no lubrication in between the two surfaces. So at initially startup case, in the case of journal bearing, there is a metal to metal contact. So whenever the lubrication present in between these two surfaces, slowly they will separate two surfaces, and the formation of film will occur in between these two surfaces. Due to this one, the property, the proper the lubrication supply, and then you can minimize this wear and friction. This type of lubrication process called as boundary lubrication. So explain mixed lubrication. What is this? No, what do you mean by the mixed? The boundary lubrication is dramatically reduced as sliding speed increases, creating a wedge of lubricant film between the surfaces in motion. So as the potential for asperity contact is reduced and film thickness is increased, the coefficient of friction drops dramatically to the condition known as mixed lubrication. So whenever reduced as a sliding speed increases, the boundary lubrication is reduced. So in that time, the creating a wedge film lubrication in between the surfaces. So the wedge shape formation will be occurred. So this type of phenomenon is known as mixed lubrication. So what is hydrodynamic lubrication? So this lubrication regimes occurs between sliding surfaces when a full film of oil supports and creates a working clearance. In order for hydrodynamic lubrication to be successfully and completely applied, there must be a high degree of geometric conformity between the machine components and a resulting low contact pressure between the surfaces in a relative motion. So this is the main concept of this aerodynamic lubrication. So there is a well sufficient lubrication between these two surfaces. So what is fluid beam lubrication? So this lubrication design condition occurs after a machine has begun to rotate and the speeds and loads are such that a wedge of oil has been formed between the shaft and the bearing surfaces. This wedge of oil lifts the shaft away from the bearing surface, so there is a little risk of asperity contact. This is a desirable condition to avoid friction and wear. Next, what is elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication? So, elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication condition occur when a rolling motion exists between the moving elements. Whenever two components are in relative motion, and the contact zone has a low degree of conformity. Example, note that the curve of the roller and the race in a rolling element, the bearing are very dissimilar. So the elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication means, so in this, due to the elasticity property of the materials itself act as a self-lubrication. So this phenomenon is called as elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication. So explain the role of lubricants. So what is the role of lubricants in engineering tribology subject? The primary function of the lubricant are two. One is reduce friction and prevent wear, protect the equipment from corrosion. You can apply the lubrication on a particular surfaces to avoid this corrosion. Control temperature, dissipate heat. You can control the temperature to dissipate the heat from the source. So the lubricants oil, whenever present, the lubrication in between the rubbing surfaces. So some heat it absorbed and dissipate to the surrounding. So that is main role of lubricant. The control contamination, carry contaminants to filter or sump. Transmit power, that is hydraulics power, and provide a fluid seal. So it can act as a the seal. So what are the uses of lubricants? So lubrication is required for the correct operation of mechanical systems such as pistons, pumps, cams, bearings, turbines, gears, roller chains, cutting tools, etc. Where without lubrication, the pressure between the surfaces in proximity would generate enough heat for rapid surface damage, which in a coarsened condition may literally weld the surfaces together, causing seizure effect. So the seizure effect due to the weld the surfaces together. The define a splash lubrication system. What is this splash? In these types of lubrication systems, the lubricating oil accumulates in an oil through or sump. A scoop or dipper is made in the lowest part of the connecting rod. When the engine runs, the dipper dips in the oil once in every revolution of the crankshaft and causes the oil to splash on the cylinder walls. This action affects engine valves, piston rings, crankshaft bearings, and large end bearings. The splash system mostly works in connection with the pressure system in an engine. Some parts being lubricated by the splash system and the other by the pressure system. So whenever splashing occurred, so that well lubricated the all engine components like piston, crankshaft, bearings, and cylinder. So define grease lubrication system. What is this grease lubrication system? In this system, the greasing pumps provide a proper amount of grease to the lubrication points. The main systems used for grease lubrications are dual line and progressive systems. So, what is this dual line lubrication system? Define the dual line lubrication system. The dual line system is a modular design that allows for simple configuration and expansion of the system, and it is suitable for industries with large emissions and many lubrication points. Iron and steel industry and cement plants, platforms, large cranes, and cargo handling equipment. Dual line lubrication systems are found in every industry which requires continuous duty operation. They are economical for systems having more than 20 bearing points that can easily be added without redesigning the entire system. So this is the main concept of this dual line lubrication systems. So define oil lubrication system. The oil lubrication system in total loss lubrication, oil or fluid grease creates a thin oil film that protects parts. This is renewed at regular intervals by an automated lubrication system with an electric oil pump. The main systems utilized oil lubrication are the single line systems and the 33V system, the 33 voltage systems. Define minimum quantity lubrication. So minimum quantity. So means the innovative new technology that replaces traditional and pure oil fluid systems in a machining environment. So that is fundamentally a controlled compressed air stream carries a minimal quantities of cutting oil in an aerosol. So the aerosol format to cutting surface by external or internal through the tool lubrication. So this type of format used in this machining process in mechanical manufacturing. So these are the references I have taken for this definition and terminology. Whatever the definition and terms related to these lubricants and lubrication designs. So these all these terminology definitions are very important in examination point of view. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.